NJ2US was here. His wife came home, so he went to see her. So I don't know if he will come back or not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was working on the amplifier today. I changed the attenuator on the input, so it's behaving much better on the lower bands, where before, you know, it was very difficult with the Anand because it required so little drive that you know, it just didn't seem to balance well with pure signal, and also the you know, the low drive level and the massive sample coming back. It just was not balanced right. So I changed out the attenuator pad for one that had a little more attenuation, and it seems much more reasonable. So I'm kind of pleased with the way it's playing now.
Now, do you which one do you have?
I have one of the Mercury 3S amps.
Do you have a tuner? Which tuner are you using?
Yeah, I have a Palstar AT4K.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, it's a manual tuner, but I like it. It has the ballon on the input, which it's a very well designed tuner, and it can handle beastly power, so I'm good with it.
Well, I'm learning, besides my lack of knowledge, I also have a lack of eyesight, so I have to be very careful with all the stuff in front of me that I keep a close watch on it. My MFJ, I managed to switch the antenna, and I've never had that problem ever in, you know, the time I've had the tuner. I had them well over a year, so I don't know what caused the antenna to switch, other than, you know, maybe I hit the button and didn't realize it. But you know, when I was on earlier in the week, I just figured something had gone wrong, and I kind of narrowed it down to the tuner because I could use my other radio. So I'm sitting here looking at it and saying, boy, if my eyesight gets much worse, I'm going to be in real trouble.
Oh boy, yeah, I know. I have to. I guess I'm fortunate in that for close-in stuff, I have to take my glasses off, and I can see very clearly close up, which I guess is an anomaly. But yeah, I have the same problem. The other thing is my tuner's across the room, so I have presets that I can dial them in, and those are usually really close enough, in fact, so I don't have to run over and touch it up again. But the problem is my chair over there. That's where my gaming computer is. So if I roll back in my chair, I can inadvertently brush the crank handle on the roller inductor and change that. So the next time I walk over to operate, it could be a little bit off.
Yeah, I can understand it. Now, with that type of setup, I mean, so if you jump from like 160 to 20 meters back to 40 meters, isn't that a lot? I mean, you say it has presets. Well, you can use the presets?
Yeah, I made a tuning chart and hit, frequencies across each band, so I can just at a glance dial in what's appropriate. And I have a hex beam for 2017, 15, 12, and 10, and I have a separate 6-meter beam for that band. So really, it's just 160, 75, 60, and 40 that I have to use the tuner for.
Yeah, Jeff, I don't know if you were on earlier in the week. Jeff was having me run to turn my tuner off and see what the actual amplifier was showing, and I was surprised. In many of I really didn't need the tuner.
Oh, I definitely need it. I use open wire line, a 4-inch space open wire line for the antenna, and it presents a very different from 50 ohm load on it. So, yeah, I have no choice. It's really a non-resonant antenna. So I definitely got to tune it. I definitely have to hit those points.
Roger. Well, everybody seems here on this band or this net, if you call it that. Everybody's buying that new Flex Radio Tuner Genius.
Yeah, well, the Flex hardware is very good. I never really had a problem with the Flex hardware, other than my Flex 5000 had leaky solid state relays, which did cause problems with the AM mode and non-compliant attenuation of off frequency components. So other than that, they make really first-rate stuff.
And I was looking at it, just trying to see what, they were all, I guess they make one for SO2R, I think it is, it has, you can actually use it on 2 radios.
Yeah, the SO2R function, I would imagine it's the more expensive one. I think a lot of guys leap for the other one, unless they're big-time contesters.
2 stations here. I sort of have my primary and I have a secondary, and I'm sitting here looking at it. I said, well, it's not that I want to run 2. I just wanted to be able to maybe share the tuner instead of, having to, have a switch or whatever. It would sort of make sense, but that's $2,500 compared to my, $700 MFJ 998.
Yeah, these wonderful toys we get, they're not cheap usually.
Well, I'm just trying to see, what is the new flavor and why does it cost so much?
Yeah, they have a lot of capability, no question about that. They really do. So, we're all like little kids with this stuff. It's not that we have to have these things. It's not that we need these things. It's all about wanting these things. W18EX.
Whiskey 1 Pop Echo Fox. Yeah, that's probably true. And we have a lot of pent-up demand, I guess. People can't go out and buy as much stuff as they want, so they're jumping on anything that's out there.
Yeah, that's true. And of course, there's the 20% inflation bite we're getting on our all of our savings and things, and all of our investments. It's about a 20% hit just in the last year or so. Yeah, hopefully that gets turned around fast.
Yeah. Well, as they say, I won't hold my breath on that one. I just I look at it and say, hopefully we ride it out, and we keep about 20 to 25% in cash. So, and taking out 5% per year, that gives you about a 4, maybe 5 year cushion before you'd have to sell anything.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to sell anything in this market. Not now. Ride it out, like you said. Ride it out.
Yeah, but you stop and think 2 years. What's it going to be like in 2 years? Maybe possibly 3 years. Who knows? The way things are going with idiots going to Taiwan and invoking the Chinese to take strange steps. We're over there trying to stick our thumb in Putin's eye with the Ukraine. So I don't know what else. It wouldn't take much for somebody to lose their cool and start a war.
Yeah, these are interesting times. Of course, when you and I were kids, we'd have to do our bomb drills and get underneath our desks in school for when they dropped the nuke on us. Yeah, I mean, we've grown up in a volatile time, but I think we grew up in the best of times too.
I agree. I think we did. You look back and you say it was so innocent. You didn't realize it at the time, but I guess we did.
Yeah, the 50s were kind of a very cool time to be a kid. And, I mean, your parents didn't worry about you. They put you on your bicycle when you got up in the morning and told you to come back for dinner, And that was it. You were turned loose on the world with all your friends driving, riding your bikes around in packs. At least that's the way it was when I was growing up. So, yeah, it was a good time. And then, of course, you had the wild 60s, which was a great time to be, in your teens. And then, of course, the 70s, a great time to be in your 20s. All that free love, Paul.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was already married by then, so I was kind of, locked into the building, so I couldn't go out. But yeah, I don't regret it. But yeah, you're right. I remember the '50s. Your parents would tell me, you're in charge of your brothers, and by the way, he's got to accompany you. So if you went out to play somewhere, and something happened to him, I'd get punished for his stupidity.
Yeah, well, we learned responsibility, but we also had opportunities to be irresponsible. I sure was.
Yeah, you're true. That's true. But I just remember, God, 65, 66. That's when I graduated from high school, and you could go to college, but they were going to draft your butt irregardless. I mean, if there was, you go to college, and then they eliminated that out, and then if you're getting married, they eliminated that out, and then you get married, have a kid, they eliminated that out. So it just seemed like the politicians were, looking to kill off a whole section of society.
Yeah, it didn't make much sense. Really didn't. But I had a draft number of 95, I think. And I was, and they were pulling in up. I think they were up around 135. So I knew when my student deferment went out when I graduated from college that I was sure to go. So I joined, but never was deployed anywhere. I was always stateside. Pretty much functioning as a Radar O'Reilly company clerk that got to drive the colonel around and got to carry a Remington 870 shotgun and a 45 caliber 1911 on payroll day because we had to go get all the money and they paid everything in cash. So yeah, that was my only adventure, being the payroll guard. But other than that, I had a key to the mess hall and was the company clerk, had a private room. I mean, my goodness, it was like being an executive's assistant.
Yeah, that sounded pretty good.
Well, I reported to the sergeant major and the first sergeant and did all the work for the company commander. And when the battalion commander needed morning reports, he'd send me to the sergeant major and no one messed with me. How's that? They left me alone.
Well, that's even better. Out of sight, out of mind, or whatever. When I joined with a friend, and they deferred us going in by a week or two. It was during the spinal meningitis. I was in the Air Force, and we went to Texas in July and August. So that was terrible. But we both signed up for the school that had the longest school in Denver, Colorado. So we picked our career based on the school length in Denver.
Yeah, you could be crafty that way. That's right. I went in as an intelligence analyst on 96B20, and I was very lucky because when I was in high school, everyone had to take a business class, and part of the business class was learning to type. And I had a teacher, Mrs. Winslow, whose husband was over in Vietnam, and she said, "Boys, I'm going to make sure you can type. You're not going to leave here until you can type 20 to 30 words a minute." And she said, "You just make sure they know that when you're in the military, because you'll probably end up behind a typewriter instead of carrying a rifle out in the rice paddy." And she was right. When they found out I could type 30 words a minute, they dragged out an electric typewriter that no one else could use. And they said, "Show us," and I did. And then they said, "Okay, you're our morning report guy. You're our clerk." So they made me OJT clerk.
Well, that's great. When you had somebody in your back court there, helping you, that was great. My friend and I, we, besides the weeks of schooling, it was also, it was electronics. It was a nuclear weapons specialist, and we both figured, you wouldn't be stationed anywhere near there, so we did that. And my dad passed away, after about 3 weeks of school, so I had to take a leave, and I never kind of caught up. And when my mom was having issues, I put in for, to get out, and I was granted a hardship discharge.
W1PEF, W1AEX. Okay, yeah, yep. I saw that with a couple of friends of mine in the service with family illnesses or deaths. I'm glad that they did that. Let those guys go. There were plenty of other guys to pick up the slack there, and you got to get home and take care of business.
Yeah, my mother was never learned to drive, and basically, I had a younger brother, and he kind of bared the brunt of most of it. She couldn't sit still, so to speak. She was all over. She wanted to be with her sisters after his death. She wanted to live with me initially, and then because I wasn't staying home, on the weekends and whatever, she was alone, and she was complaining about that, so she moved around, and there wasn't much you could do about it. So ultimately, I got engaged and married, and you know what? The good old Air Force, after we're married, and they came knocking on the door saying, maybe we should bring you back.
Oh boy. One of the things that I had to do frequently, I was down at Fort Huachuca, the military intelligence school, and when they put me into the clerk slot there, these guys would go on leave and they'd go down to Mexico and they'd come back married, and they'd have to bring their wife in to meet the company commander, and he would explain to them that because the candidate was in military intelligence school, he couldn't be married right now. They'd have to have an annulled marriage. So I'd have to fill out all of the forms to accomplish that. So I broke up a lot of marriages when I was down in Fort Huachuca, Paul.
Wow, I never knew that happened.
No, these knuckleheads, they'd go down to Mexico and on leave and come back married. It would happen, we'd probably have a couple of those a month. So I'm guessing probably in total, I probably was the instrument of dissolving maybe 15 or 16 marriages.
Well, yeah, were they warned not to get married?
Yeah, but love is difficult to hold back on,
Okay, you mean, yeah, I hear you.
One of the good things was, though, that I could walk into the mess hall anytime and get coffee and donuts. So it was great. I had a real good coffee break every morning.
I can remember there were some great meals, and then there was some what I call, I would call it, a feed stock, or something you might feed to the animals, and that's basically what it turned up to be. They served liver one day as a hamburger, and with the buns and ketchup and pickles.
They did. There were some unappetizing things that got thrown our way, but I have to say, all in all, that I got to eat with the first sergeant ate, so it was usually pretty decent.
Yeah. Most of the meals were okay. Nothing. A few that you would say, hey, this is great if we could have this about every week.
There was a lot of steak for dinner, and a lot of pancakes for breakfast, and whatever was going at lunchtime too. I can't complain. In fact, I put on 10 pounds when I was, when I got out of basic. I can remember the barracks in Denver. They were World War II. They had the sheet metal coated showers, and I was there long enough that it turned cold in Denver, and I mean, I swear to God, they iced up. Denver, you can go 10 miles in Denver and go from summer weather to winter weather. It's the strangest state.
Yeah, and it could be 70 degrees one day, and it'd be like 15, 20 degrees the next day.
Very true. My daughter was out in the Denver area for about 2 years, and she said, "Dad, I can go snowboarding, or I can go to the beach." And she said those two polarized activities are available just about every day. And she said it's a matter of about a 45-minute drive to do either one.
Yeah, it was. It's a great place. My sister-in-law, they just sold a house there, and they made a killing in the. They were in the downtown area, and I guess well, it's like anywhere else. I guess these days the housing prices are just astronomical. People are buying them and bidding up the prices.
Yeah, I would imagine. It's a beautiful state. My wife and I went out there to visit our daughter, and we spent about 2 weeks out there. We hiked a lot of the state parks out in the Denver area and up and down, through the central part of Colorado. In fact, the picture of my picture on QRZ, the profile picture up in the upper right corner, that's we were hiking out to Bear Lake. That was about halfway up a 9-mile trail with a beautiful, beautiful view. So I sat on the rock and said, "Take a picture. I want this."
Yeah, those pictures come in handy.
Yeah.
I've got a couple when I was skiing when I was out in Denver, and you're at the top of the mountain, and you could see, seems like 60, 80 miles in the distance.
Yeah, it seemed like many places we went, it was like you were in a postcard. Just absolutely stunning landscape. Really, in Connecticut, we don't have anything like that. We have beautiful sites, as you do in a New England setting, but it's a different kind of beautiful when you have that vista. You look out over the horizon and you're looking out 30, 40 miles away at a mountain range, from one mountain range to another one maybe, or from one mountain to another. It's just, you can't do that where I live here now. I think we're gonna have W1AW in here in about. Let's see, we have about 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, I think we'll call it quits before that, because I don't think Jeff's coming back. So, and then Gary and Nick were not on.
Yeah, there's a fair amount of static crashing going on, but I wasn't sure anyone would be here. In any event, glad I ran into you, Paul. Good to hear you, and you gave me a good shakedown test here. The pure signal has been flawless. It hasn't blown out or anything, and that's not the case with 160 meters the way it was with that 10 dB attenuator pad. So I think it was a good move. It seems to be very stable. In any event, good to hear you. Have a good evening, and probably chat with you guys later in the week. W1PEF, W1AEX.
Roger, Rob. Thank you for joining tonight. It was good to talk to you. W1AEX, Whiskey 1, Pop Echo Fox. I'll be clear, and have a good evening, sir.
Yeah, take care. W1PEF, W1AEX. Stay cool tomorrow.
Yeah, at 100 degrees, you know it. We gotta.
our radio amateurs, calling our radio amateurs, calling our radio amateurs. This is W1AW. Calling our radio amateurs, calling our radio amateurs, calling our radio amateurs. This is W1AW in Newington, Connecticut. An official bulletin transmission follows. This is W1AW. Tourist Propagation Forecast Bulletin number 30 from Tad Cook, Kilo 7 Romeo Alpha, Seattle, Washington, July 29, 2022. To all radio amateurs. Although images of the sun reporting this week, July 21 to 27, show plenty of sunspots, only 2 sunspots emerged, one on July 21, the other on July 25. Another new sunspot appeared on July 28. The sunspot number declined to 50 from 52 the day before. Average daily sunspot number declined from 137.3 to 91.1, and average daily solar flux softened by 50 points to 107.6. Geomagnetic indicators began its reporting week fairly active, with planetary A index at 22. Then it quickly quieted down to an average of 11.7 for the week, higher than the 9.4 average reported last week. Average mid-latitude A index increased from 9 to 10.4. A look back a year ago shows the cycle is progressing nicely. In ARLP 030 in 2021, the average daily sunspot number was just 48.9, and average daily solar flux only 81.3. A year prior, the average daily sunspot number in 2020 was just a 3.1. That is because there were 5 days with no sunspots, then 2 days with a sunspot number of only 11, which is the minimum non-zero sunspot number. This is W1AW in Newington, Connecticut. Phone bulletins are transmitted daily at 0145 UTC, simultaneously on 1-855-3990-7290, 14290, 18160, 21390, and 28590 kilohertz. Also on 50.350 and 147.555 megahertz. Weekly DX bulletins are transmitted in these time slots on Fridays, UTC. This is W1AW in Newington, Connecticut, now leaving the air.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2. W1AEX testing. W1AEX is clear. Test 1. Test 1 2. W1AEX. Testing. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. W1AEX. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2 3. W18EX. Test W18EX is clear.